always, the entrances to the Manchester City theme song. One of the few luxuries in Hatton's life is that he has a hospitality box at his beloved main road. Well, we said when he started out, if you want a nickname like the Hitman, which Thomas Hearns had, you'd better be good. He's proved up to it so far.
Yeah, he's done everything that's been asked of him. He's come through a few scares with cuts, but he's doing it all. And the only fighter, I think, that can get this sort of crowd to come to a place like this really is a great buzz about Ricky Hatton and what he does in the ring.
Time as well. A modest, affable, boyish, down-to-earth man until he gets in a boxing ring.
Yeah, it all changes then for Ricky Hatton. He really is an all-action fighter. He goes in the ring to do nothing but get his opponent out of there. And I think that's what the crowd come to see. That's what he brings to the ring.
Grew up idolizing the great Roberto Duran. Like him, he is a wicked body puncher. He hasn't, of course, reached that kind of level yet. Indeed, quite a lot of independent assessors don't really think he's in the world top 10 yet. I think tonight is the litmus test. If he wins this and wins this well, I think he convinces a lot more people, and the story goes ever onwards and upwards. But it's an if, isn't it?
It is an if, and it should be a tough fight, but this will really put him up to the next level. This is the fight that he needs to really prove himself.
Tail of the tape for tonight's big fight, and a real big fight atmosphere too in Manchester. Hatton, still only 23, Magee 7 years older. Been waiting a long time for this. Magee is taller, has a reach advantage. He could make that count. Hatton was half a pound heavier, both inside the 10 stone light welterweight limit. Hatton a pro for 5 years and Magee for 7. A lower profile career for Magee, something maybe that burns a little. He's seen Hatton get all the publicity. Magee's boxed a few more rounds. Hatton the better stoppage rate, though they're both very notable punchers.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening once more, and welcome to the magnificent MEN Arena here in the city of Manchester, England. Tonight, Frank Warren Sports Network, in association with our main sponsors, Red Square, the drink that packs a punch, and the Vaughan Group, proudly present 12 3-minute rounds for the WBU Light Welterweight Championship of the World. We'd like to welcome viewers watching live and exclusively on Sky Sports and Showtime. The officials have been appointed by the World Boxing Union in association with the British Boxing Board of Control. WBU President at ringside is Mr. John Robinson. Commissioner from Johannesburg in South Africa is Mr. Wally Solomons. British Boxing Board of Control steward in charge is Mr. Dennis Locton. Timekeeper at the bell from Halifax in England is Mr. Colin Roberts. We have 3 scoring judges at ringside who are Des Bloy from Australia, Glenn Feldman from the United States of America, and Howard Goldberg from South Africa. Finally, when the action commences, the referee this evening, taking part in his 99th world title contest, is the one, the only, Mr. Mickey Van from Leeds, England. All right, fight fans, here we go. The time has come for the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBU Light Welterweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Manchester, England, it is showtime! boxing out of the red corner, wearing his familiar green, white and orange coloured shorts. At the weighing scale, 9 stone 13 and 1/4 pounds, or 139 and 1/4 US pounds. He has an outstanding record: 25 contests, 23 wins. 18 of those wins coming by way of knockout, with only the 2 defeats. He comes to the ring this evening as the former undefeated light welterweight champion of the Commonwealth and is the challenger for the championship from Belfast in Northern Ireland, presenting Eamonn Magee. And opposing him, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing his familiar silver, blue and black coloured shorts. At the weighing scale, 9 stone 13 and 3/4 pounds, or 139 and 3/4 US pounds. He has a perfect, undefeated record: 28 contests, 28 wins. 23 of those wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former undefeated light welterweight champion of Great Britain. Tonight, making the 6th defence of his championship, Manchester, England, welcome the WBU light welterweight champion of the world from this magnificent city of Manchester, England, Ricky the Hitman Hatton. The referee, Mr. Mickey Van, will now give his final instructions to both boxers.
Okay, Eamonn. Okay, Ricky. You both had your instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all times. Don't forget, I want no noise with the head. Shake hands. Shake hands. Got your corners.
Mickey Van, by the way, is refereeing a Hatton fight for the 7th time in a row. Now that does seem wrong, with all due respect to the excellent Mr. Van. Oh, Ricky Hatton.
Hatton's starting to make a bit of headway, starting to get through with some better shots, getting a better rhythm, good right hand scoring there, not getting through with the hook to the body, but the left hook to the head worked.
On it goes, and a great right hand right at the start from Hatton, who seemed to just catch Magee with a counter then, as Magee seemed to give him the charge. Halfway stage, there Glenn has it, and me too. Magee by a 1.
But Hatton noticeably coming more and more into it, Ian.
Boxing a smarter fight, Hatton. When he gets it and lands his punches, he skips away again out of range. What I like about what Hatton's done is he's showing he can think in there as well, and he's going to need that if he's going to fight the world's best, and that world's best is undoubtedly Costa Hsu, the Russian-born Australian. He's got to win this first.
Yes,
it's tight.
But what he's doing is keeping cool in there, keeping calm, going about his work.
Cautionary word for Hatton, who's now a bandage has come loose on one of his gloves. Lovely little right hook from him on the inside too. And that's why we're going to have the interruption, because the bandage has come loose, I think, on both gloves of Hatton. Well, everybody wants to be at this fight. I noticed Stephen Gerrard, the England footballer, sadly injured England footballer. He should be out in Japan, shouldn't he? What a shame. But he's here at ringside. That's one little bonus for him, watching this fascinating fight. It was only the 3rd time Hatton's had to go this far, by the way, Glenn.
Yep, little short left hand from Magee, who's back in that corner, looking for the counters to try and draw Hatton in.
He loves that bit of canvas, doesn't he? Just by his own corner.
Yep, he knows it's a good place. He can set his feet there, wait for Hatton coming in. Probably also get a little bit of information from the corner as well as to how things are going.
Oh, big body shot from Hatton that time. Bit by bit by bit, he's looking to knock the spirit and the fight and the defiance and the feistiness out of Eamonn Magee.
Nice long right hand from Hatton coming in, starting to pick off Magee from long range.
Just outboxing him a little, isn't he, at the moment? He's showing that he's more than just a rampaging body puncher. He's showing that he can think and he can box a bit too. Which is not to say that Magee might suddenly come up with an equalising punch. That could happen too.
But the body punches are starting to have an effect. Just nods a little bit there, Magee. Another Hatton round.
Well, let's have a look at what the computer is saying here about punches landed in this fight so far. Hatton 144, Magee 102. Big advantage really for the home fighter.
Yeah, look at the body, 50 for Hatton, 11 for Magee, so he's certainly winning the war there, as we thought he would.
But on the scorecards, I have it level.
Exactly the same as me, Ian.
8th round. Has Magee just run out of ideas? Just one powder keg counter is all it might take for Eamonn Magee. He knows it, and Hatton knows it too now.
Well, he's took a couple of powder keg shots, Hatton, and he's got through that. So he's shown his chin's pretty good.
Passing that little test too. It's an overused phrase these days in boxing, but this is some sort of defining fight for Hatton. Skipping out of range quite nicely and just setting Magee one or two problems. Magee's on his bike now. Magee does have quiet periods in fights where it happened, didn't it, with Shea Neary, one or two other fights too, where he just seemed to fight in fits and spurts, but he really has to keep matching Hatton's work rate.
Well, that's what Hatton's good at. He keeps going all the time. Nice rhythm, but he's always got to be careful of that counter.
Nice little right hand from Hatton, who's benefited since his last fight. He fought a hectic schedule by taking a Caribbean cruise. That's freshened him up, he says, no end.
But he's waiting for the counters, Magee, but he's not getting them off.
Probably the most ragged round of the fight, this one, so far. Hatton missing a lot close in. There's a rather more respectful look about Magee. He's just nodded at Hatton once or twice when combinations had landed earlier on in the fight, as pros do to each other. He's shown another side of his boxing character tonight, Ricky Hatton. Good shot. Got in from Hatton with the right.
Well, he did have to show in this fight that he's ready for the next level, and so far he's doing that.
Now, what more can Magee produce? Trying to turn the tables on Hatton here and pin him against the ropes. Don't see that very often. Well, boxing clever, Hatton. He missed a lot that round, but I think he still won it on pressure.
Each time you do better when you make it throw few punches.
I've given Hatton the last 1, 2, 3, 4 now.
Nine's coming up.
Yep, me too. And for the first time in the fight, I've got Hatton ahead.
He's working like fuck.
But it's still tight.
He's not fucking doing that much.
Hatton, by the way, is number 1 with the WBO, number 3 with the WBC, number 5 with the WBA. But I don't think he's convinced everyone on the other side of the pond yet. As we look at the, he's still landing more shots. You see, I saw a computer printout this week of the fight writers in America. They don't have him in the top 10. he hasn't convinced them yet. I think he's still got to beat one of the top Americans to do that.
Yeah, and that's definitely, but he's got to, people like this to get out the way first, and then there's that step up to the top Americans, and I think that, that's obviously next on the agenda if he gets through this.
Round 9. This is the round in which Hatton won his last fight against the Siberian Krivolopov, whose first name at this moment escapes me. Has Hatton been, Magee rather, has been biding his time to come up with a big finish.
Well, Hatton did say that Magee was one-dimensional. He's got to prove otherwise now, Magee, because there's not much else coming from him.
Oh, he's hurt by these shots a little, takes a little break, or was he? Because he comes out of it and just shrugs. What a great chin, hasn't he? Eamonn Magee. He talks to Hatton now.
He's a tough guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Trying to goad Hatton to do something silly. That's when he'll look to get him with a counter.
Troubled background on the streets of Belfast when he was a youngster from the Ardoyne area. He said you only had to go down the corner to have a fight. Hard times. He was once stabbed in the neck. Read him tough.
Good left hand from Magee went in there. Still just waiting for the opening.
I think Hatton has settled really for doing this on points if he has to, and if the knockout or stoppage comes, it comes. I think that's his mental set now.
Well, he'll always be looking for it, I think. It's the nature of Hatton.
They've done a good job in Hatton's corner on his cut, which is below the eye. It's been no problem at all to him, really, since it happened. Just a bit of swelling underneath the left eye, but nothing much for Eamonn Magee, who seems to have this teak-tough skin. That's a right hand on the way in there. Hatton just getting caught. He hasn't been making that mistake so much in more recent times in the fight.
And he's getting through more and more. Hatton, Magee not having the one-punch success that he had in the first couple of rounds.
Bit of holding on the inside from Eamonn Magee. Everybody's glued to this in here, almost sort of on the edge of their seats. There's a kind of crackling tension about it. Again, pretty smart boxing skills from Hatton, who's shown that he can box as well as blast tonight, and think, which is very important. He's switched strategies after the first 2 rounds. He's been a lot cuter since, and he's been putting rounds in the bank. Let's get some alternative views of the action over to Adam Smith, who's got some guests with him.
Thanks, Ian. Nicky, after a very early scare, when he really was in trouble at the beginning, do you think Hatton's come back well?
Yeah, I think he has come back well. Eamonn Magee, I think, has got the ability to win this fight. He's just not doing enough work. He's making Hatton miss, and then he's not counter-punching. Hatton, though, to his credit, what a fighter, you know. And I've given him a share of the last round. Magee did a bit better, but apart from the first 2, Hatton's won every round for me. He's just doing some more work than Magee.
He seems to be switching off Eamonn Magee. He looked at the beginning like he had the speed and the counter-punches to really win this fight.
Well, it was a disastrous start for Ricky Hatton. Eamonn Magee, he has got the ability to win this contest, but he's not doing enough work. He's lying on the ropes. Hatton's coming in with his hands carried quite low, and so there's always that chance that Magee gets caught again or catches him again.
Who's winning?
I fancy Eamonn Magee's 2 rounds.
Hatton's winning.
Thanks, guys.
10th round. I've got it to Hatton by 2 points at this point. 9 minutes left in the contest. I wonder if Magee thinks he's winning the fight.
Well, I've got 86-84, same as you, I think, Ian, in Hatton's favour. Well, he might think he's doing the cuter work on the back foot in the corner, but you know, it certainly doesn't look that way. Hatton's the one who's rolling forward, making a fight of it.
Ricky Van reads the riot act to Magee. cut just starts to seep blood again for Hatton. I don't think it's a big problem for him. The cut is below the eye. It will not have the blood running into the eye and obscure the vision for him. Oh, good left-hand counter from Magee, whose corner have been beseeching him. Well, his brother did anyway. He comes from a boxing family. One of his brothers was a Commonwealth champion too. And they've been screaming at him, up the work rate, Eamonn. I think that's right, isn't it?
Well, he can't expect any favours really. He's in Manchester.
That is the harsh reality of boxing life. You're fighting in the other fella's backyard. If it's a bit close, realistically, you're not going to get it. 19 times out of 20 anyway. He knows that. Again, good little left-hand counter from Magee. Quite cute. He needs a bit more of that.
And a good right hand back from Hatton. Straight after that, Ian.
Bit more from Magee in this round. He has stepped up his work rate and he's not laying on the ropes or staying in that same piece of canvas.
Decent left hand from Magee. Hatton still tries to close the distance down.
Just trying to give Hatton a few more angles and make him think. Maybe he thinks out here Hatton might be more prone to making an error and leaving himself open for one of those dynamic rights, or haven't really seen much of it so far, the left too, which was the punch that did for John Thaxton, common opponent of these two. Magee stopped him in 6. He took Hatton the distance.
Decent left hand from Hatton. Magee just smiles and shakes his head.
Just lost a bit of snap, Hatton's work in the last couple of rounds for me.
Good boy. That's better. Actually, a front round.
John Green
That's better.
in the corner is handling some good fighters, including Dave Boy McCauley. You might remember him, the top flyweight. Bernardo Chaker on the cuts tonight, because Danny Mancini is usually there, is in Germany. I think he nicked that round, didn't he, Magee?
I think he did. It was good movement from him. Picked his shots, just upset the rhythm of Hatton. He did something different. Hatton used to just rolling forward, pinning him on the ropes and letting the shots go. All of a sudden that round, Magee had something different, kept on the move and picked some nice shots out from long range.
This is only the second time that Hatton's fought a southpaw in his pro career. The other one was Dylan Carew, but he must have fought a few in the amateurs, I guess. Not the same thing though, is it?
Well, he'll have done plenty sparring with him. It's not, it's different. It's always hard with southpaws.
6 minutes to go, and close, I would think, on most cards. It is on the cards of Glenorie after that great start for Magee when Hatton was down and then dazed in the next round, the second. Just a bit of the fizz gone out of Hatton's work for a moment. Can he get back to work? I suppose there'll be those who will say, and maybe right, that Magee has shown up the limitations of Ricky Hatton tonight. Is that a fair criticism, Glenn?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think this was always going to be a tough fight because of the characters. You know, Magee is a good fighter. Well, let's not take anything away from Magee. He's proven himself as well.
Yeah. This begins to look, doesn't it, as if it's definitely going to the cards. So I think work rate for these two now is crucial. And we have seen some funny old scoring in some WBU fights in recent times, without wishing to get on their case too much.
There's a decent body shot from Hatton there, starting to work. And Magee on the ropes.
Better from Hatton. mustn't be too gung-ho, and he knows it. Ricky Hatton. But I think by and large he's found the answers quite well. It's a thinking display. Magee's been pretty cute himself, mind you.
Couple of good right hooks from Magee, catching Hatton on the way in. He's moving quite well, Magee, and just looking for the counter still.
Good right hand on the inside, but didn't Magee turn him cleverly at the end of it?
Turned him quality in, but wasted that opportunity.
Back in that same spot again. I remember seeing a great fight between Azuma Nelson and Jeff Fennick, and it was almost fought out on the same square inch of canvas. I should think about 60% of the action's gone on in that little part of the ring.
Yep, Magee being very keen on his home little bit of turf there in the corner.
Come on in, says Magee, and shouts across the ring at Hatton, who's not having any of it. I think Hatton settled a long time ago for the fact that he's in with a knowing, durable fighter, and that points will get the job done. And I think that is absolutely top-notch thinking.
Yep, I think he realised that 204 to 152 punches landed, so pulling away in that department, Ricky Hatton.
I wonder what Magee thinks the scorecard is in his head. They've been scheduled to box a lot of 12-rounders, the pair of them. How often have they actually have to go the distance? Hatton only once, because he's usually finished everybody off in schedule, and Magee 3 times. Glenn's scorecard has Hatton by 2 points and having exactly the same for what it's worth. Crowd have enjoyed it here.
Well, it's been an intriguing encounter, hasn't it?
They touch gloves and nod to each other. Always the mutual respect at the end, nearly always, between fighters, no matter what's gone on in the build-up. And these two actually have been pretty respectful of each other in the build-up too. They know that the other is a good fighter, and it's a win worth having. But it may be close enough for an argument on some people's reading, I don't know, but I've got Hatton by a couple going into this last.
Yeah, exactly the same as me, and I think Hatton's just looked to force it, looked to be busier, and I think, probably has. He's trying to be cute, Magee, but it's all about work rate, and at this minute hasn't quite done enough.
He probably is thinking that too, and he'll be looking now for a knockout punch to take Hatton out of it. Is there going to be late drama, just as there was early drama in this contest? Don't rule it out. Well, there they are again, back in that phone booth in the corner.
Some nice work from Magee in that corner. He was just getting the better of it in there.
Didn't really land with his jabs. Hatton, he's got very, very circumspect about getting in close.
Well, I think he's felt the sharpness and the power of Magee a few times.
And Magee's proved tonight that wherever Ricky Hatton is in the light welterweight pyramid, he isn't far behind. He hasn't had the publicity lower for him. He just sort of slipped against those ropes more than anything. I think the crowd at the back of the hall thought he was dazed. He wasn't.
Magee's getting the better of this last round. His punches are sharper.
Yep, he's more accurate, isn't he?
Hatton just standing off. As you said, a little more circumspect.
And he's almost in an adjacent postal district at times. Hatton in this last one, I don't know if he thinks he's got it in the bag. Oh, he just seemed to lose his orientation for a moment there.
Yeah, I think it's because he's hurting. I think that's why he's standing up. He hasn't quite got it there, Hatton.
A tough, hard fight, easily the hardest this of Hatton's career. He's been asked plenty of questions, and it's close-ish all right. Well, everybody thought this would be an interesting battle. it's proved more than interesting. Magee again looking for the thunderbolt, the bolt from Belfast. Final bell, it goes to the judges. The two of them embrace at the end of it all. Well, they lift up Magee and he starts the celebration. This is, of course, part of a phony war, you see. Both of them claiming the win. I think Magee might have just nicked the last round, and maybe there's only a point in it in favour of Hatton. But there's no telling how the three judges will see it. We've got Des Boyd of Australia, Glenn Feldman of the USA, and Howard Goldberg of South Africa scoring the fight. But I think in a close fight, there's Ray Hatton, who used to play for Manchester City in the Somerville Bell-Lee era. He was a right back, and Mum Carroll. Don't know how they bear to watch it. They must have died 1,000 deaths in the first two rounds. 218 landed by Hatton, 171 by Magee. It doesn't really tell the story, does it? Magee asks us what we thought of the fight, how close we'd got it. Glenn intimates he thought Hatton won it by 1 point. At least you were honest, Glenn.
I'll stand my corner. There it is, 114, 113 on my card. Very, very close. A lot of the rounds were open to interpretation. When Magee having some good work in that corner, it was close.
Kiss for mum and dad for Ricky, who's never happier than when he's around his family and his young son. And little James Bowers is there at all his fights. He's kind of adopted him, Ricky. There's the three judges who will score this, and we have learned not to take anything at all for granted. Both Glenn and I think this is a close fight. Close enough maybe for Magee to be claiming a win. He had a great start and a useful finish, but generally Hatton had the better of it in the middle rounds. Yes? Here he comes now. Here we go. Michael Pass, the MC, to announce it for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the judges' scorecards. They are as follows. Judge Des Boyd of Australia scores the contest 116 to 111. Judge Glenn Feldman of the United States of America scores the contest also 116 to 111. And Judge Howard Goldberg of South Africa scores the contest 115 to 112. For the winner, by unanimous decision, and still the WBU light welterweight champion of the world, Manchester's very own Ricky the Hitman Hatton.
He's got it, Ricky Hatton. Bit lopsided, thought it might be, with the way things are with him being at home. 5 points was too much on two of the cards for me. 3 points on the other one. Glenn and I thought it was only by 1 point that Hatton got home by. Final verdict, Glenn, and what will America think?
Well, they're thinking the thing in fight. They might not be that impressed, but he showed he could get hurt in the first round and come back and win the fight, and that shows somebody who can think, who can box, who can change tags. And I think overall he got a very tough opponent out of the way.
Well, they're pretty hard to please, the Americans, and they may say, well, who was Eamonn Magee? And he made hard work of Eamonn Magee. Well, I'll tell you who Eamonn Magee is. He's a very good fighter. He proved it tonight, and Hatton just squeezed by him to keep his unbeaten record to move to 29-0.
He is the future. Barry, how did you see it?
I have it for Hatton by 3 rounds. It was a very close fight. He had to show another dimension to him. He was adaptable. He showed that he could box and fight, and I thought he was very impressive. Good performance, but he showed glaring defensive mistakes.
Let's hear from Jim in just a moment or two. Ricky's waiting to speak to us. With Adam.
Unbeaten in 29 fights now. It was the first acid test of your career, and it turned out that way, didn't it?
Yeah, full respect to Eamonn Magee. He was as hard a fight as, I thought it was. He took the body shots well, he took the head shots well. He was spinning off the ropes. It was quite hard to nail, you know. Wasn't really impressed with myself. I think I was too overconfident of knocking Eamonn out early, but I think this is the most beneficial fight for my career, because I show, you know, Eamonn's the counter-puncher, Eamonn's the boxer, and I felt I outboxed him at times.
It was an absolutely nightmarish start for you, down for the first time in your career and wobbled as well in the second round. How did that feel?
Yeah, it's the first time I've been down in my career. I thought it was hit me on the top of the head, and it didn't shake me. I honestly can swear on my life it didn't shake me, but I got up, and when Eamonn gets you going, he puts clusters together, and it was quite hard. I was trying to stay close to him, smother his work, you know, and that's what I did. But it was a cracking shot. Eamonn was just waiting for me like I knew he would. But honestly, on my life, it didn't shake me up. It was just Eamonn throws that many punches when he's got you going. You've just got to, you know.
He was catching you with right-hand counters, and probably didn't do enough to win the fight. But do you still think you're as good as you thought you were beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I've been having everything my own way in my career, and, you know, he was a big puncher. I've only fought one southpaw as a pro, you know, so although I fought plenty as an amateur, you know, I thought that, you know, with all the good southpaw sparring I'd have, it wouldn't be a problem. But I mean, let's have it right. All the top lads in the division are southpaws, you know, and I've only fought one, so yeah, I mean, I'll be better for it. You know, I didn't feel like I was ever going to lose the fight, you know, except for that punch in the first round. What I swear to you, it didn't shake me. You know.
Great to watch. Well done, Ricky. You go on from here. Thank you very much.